welcome to the YarnderWoman podcast. My name is Melinda and you can find me as YarnderWoman on Instagram and Ravelry. We also have a YarnderWoman podcast Ravelry group, so search in the groups tab for that name. Today is Friday the 1st of July 2016 and as always I'm coming to you from Perth in Western Australia. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate you taking some time to spend with me. I've been really looking forward to meeting with you all again. It's been a couple of weeks since my last episode, but I've got a lot to show you and talk about. So let's go and broach the subject because we've got lots to do today. So today's bit of broachy gorgeousness is from Poppy and Belle, and she makes under the name Noodle Soup. And as you can see down here, poppyandbelle.com. And she's also on Instagram, so you can see lots of loveliness there. Now, it says in here, it's handmade in the Blue Mountains. That's over on the east coast of Australia. So these are Australian made, and they're also upcycled from vintage knitting needles. So very, very cool. And I was very spoiled to be sent not only this brooch, but this gorgeous necklace that also utilizes some vintage knitting needles. And even better is that she spoiled the podcast too. She has sent us these two gorgeous things that we can use for a future giveaway. So this one is another brooch, which is the same sort of style as the one I'm wearing. So lovely and twisted and with a little knitted, not quite a pom-pom as such, but it's a little covering at the end. It's very cute. And then this one also, you can see it's sort of wrapped around eye cord, which is just gorgeous. And this one you could use as either a hair clip or a shawl pin. And it's just beautiful. I think it's such a fabulous idea. How perfect for us knitters. And I just love the idea of upcycling as well, you know, using up resources that are already out there in the world. So thank you so much. And we will have these for a future giveaway very soon. In fact, I'm thinking we'll have them for a giveaway as part of the Read Along, which I'll tell you a bit more about in a moment. But that starts today, being the 1st of July. So yes, these will be some gifts to someone, a lucky person, as part of that. I've got some finished objects today. Ta-da! Yay! My Blueberry Waffle Cyborgs Craft Room socks are done. So I'll just hold this one up so it's a bit easier for you to see. So I did the Blueberry Waffle pattern, which is a free pattern on Ravelry, and I definitely recommend it. It's very simple. I did that on the leg and then I swapped to just stockinette for the foot just to make it a bit of an easier knit. So Cyborg's Craft Room is this beauty of a colourway here, and this was called Space Oddity, and as with pretty much all of Cyborg's Craft Room is variegated, you don't get pooling because there's just so many beautiful colours happening there. Just gorgeous. The coordinating cuff, heels and toes is in Knit Pick Stroll in the Midnight Heather colourway. As you can see on here, it's gone a bit fuzzy, but that's okay, I'll live. Oh, I have woven in my ends, but I haven't fully snipped them yet because I like to snip them after blocking, and I got too carried away, I haven't done it yet, so these haven't even been worn. So yes, two of those. I did the Fish Lips Kiss heel, which is my standard for heels, and I love them, and I will probably wear them this weekend because it's rather cold. My second finished object are these. I showed you the start last week, and these are boot toppers slash arm warmers, and they were for the teen who turned 16 a couple of days ago, and she loved these. She got these and the socks that I made as part of our opposite knit along, which was, one was orange with a purple heel and the other was purple with an orange heel, using the Barking Dog yarn. So she got those and these because she's very knit worthy. These are knit in Knit Pick Stroll worsted, no, Swish worsted, the worsted one from Knit Picks anyway, in Hollyberry, the colourway. So soft, came up beautifully. I just invented the pattern 15 ribbing, 10 stockinette, 5, 10, 15. Now the reason I point that out specifically, as well as, you know, maybe you're interested, but if you look at this one, can you see there's a row there where it looks like something different has happened. So on the second one, for some reason, I only knit 10 rows of ribbing. So then I had to unpick the cast on, which, can I say, took a long time. I've never had to unpick a cast on before, and hopefully I won't again. It was painful. I just kept, flicking and flicking, going, am I not there yet? Anyway, I was a bit tired that day too. It was the day after the Supernova comic convention that I'll tell you more about later. I've been saying that a lot, aren't I? I'm giving you little snippets and tidbits. But needless to say, it was a very busy, very fun, but very busy weekend. So on the Monday I had the day off work and was just trying to relax. And then I'm picking this cast on. It was not relaxing. But anyway, then I picked up and then just knit that way. But I don't know what I did, because it sort of looks like maybe I went one stitch over, because it looks like one of the rows is leaning. I don't care. Sophie the teen doesn't care. In fact, she didn't even notice. I doubt she would. Even if she looked at it, I think, as a knitter, I can see what's happened there. As a non-knitter, I think someone would go, oh yeah, but whatever. It certainly does not detract from the functionality of the piece, and you can't tell unless you're really looking at it. And as, the Prairie Girls like to say on Prairie Girls Knit and Spin, if you're that up close to my knitting, you need to back up. Okay, so it's funny, when she opened it, we were at a restaurant, and she put them straight on her arms as an arm warmer, so that's good. They were understandable. And I said, oh, you can also do them as boob toppers. So, but she was at the table, she didn't want to lean down, so that functionality is yet to be tested. But I'm very pleased with those. And now I'll show you what I've been working on, which has not been a lot, because I've been driving to work the last couple of weeks, because unfortunately YarnderWoman is not able to drive anymore, so I'm looking after her car until we sell it, which means I've been driving to work because it's been very cold in the mornings. But that means I'm losing my commute knitting time, so I have definitely noticed that I've got less knitting done, but I have got some things to show you, so let's go and look at those. So here's something that we haven't seen since April, because I started this in April when we had our hat knit along, and I didn't finish my hat, but here it is. I've done a total of, I think, 3 extra rows since then. So this is the beeswax hat, and sorry, I can't really squish it around much better for you at the moment, which I'll explain why in a minute. But it's got beautiful cabling. Maybe it will be easier to see on this side. There we go. Beautiful beeswax shaped cabling, and it's going to be just beautiful. And the only reason I put it down is just other projects took over. I got into my sock knitting phase that I mentioned last week. But the reason I picked it up, as well as it just being a beautiful project, it's only 2 weeks today, the 1st of July, until I go to the Australian Sheep and Wool Show in Bendigo, which is sort of Australia's version of the Rhinebeck, Maryland sheep, no, not Maryland, wherever Rhinebeck is. Rhinebeck is the place, isn't it? So the Australian Sheep and Wool Show is sort of Australia's version of Rhinebeck, but I think it's nowhere near as big. But yes, I go in 2 weeks, and that just completely snuck up on me, and I wanted to have as many warm knitted things to wear as possible, and I also want to have some extra spare hats for YarnderWoman to wear, so I need to get moving on this. But the reason it's difficult to show you properly is as I said, done 3 rows. Yesterday before work I thought, oh, just get a row in before I leave. And as I picked it up I thought, it's cabling, it's not difficult cabling, you only do, I think it's like 2 stitches at a time. But I thought, it's before work, are you sure? I'll be fine. So I dropped a stitch. I've got a little stitch marker here, a little yarn ball that the lovely Amber Yarn Junkie sent me. I'm using that as a stitch holder because I dropped the stitch I was cabling, which means it's run down only a few rows, but still a few. So that's the cabled stitch. So now I'm going to have to pick up a stitch in cable, which I've never had to do before, and I can't say I'm that excited about it. So we'll see. But yes, so that got put down and I haven't picked it back up yet. It was only yesterday. But never mind. I am using this stunning wool, 100% merino. This is from One Twisted Tree in the Lavish base, which is like a heavy sport light DK. And this is Miss Fisher's pearl handled pistol colorway, and it is stunning. One Twisted Tree is dyed by Prairie Girl Danny of Prairie Girls Knit and Spin, and I cannot recommend her yarn enough. It is beautiful, just gorgeous, and I'm loving knitting it. I was hoping to make the matching cowl that goes with this. There's a separate pattern called Beeswax Cowl, so I'd really like to get this finished and then maybe try and start the cowl, because it would be awesome to take a set with me to the Bendigo show. But I also don't want to pressure myself, so we shall see. But otherwise, just the hat will do. This is living in my Bird Leg Bags Gothic Cupcake bag. And my second work in progress is living in a bag with comic art from The Walking Dead. So if you don't want to see comic zombie scenes, look away for about 2 seconds. My favourite character from The Walking Dead, Michonne. I'll try and show just her face. There's not a lot where she's not. There she is, she's awesome. My favourite character in the comic and on the show. So, what is living in the Michonne Walking Dead bag? Socks! These are the ones that I showed you the yarn for. This is One Twisted, no it's not One Twisted Tree. Blue Moon Fibre Arts in the Socks That Rock Lightweight, and the colourway is Drusilla. So the reason I chose these was to take to the Supernova comic convention. Drusilla is a character from the TV show Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and I met another actor from Buffy the Vampire Slayer, James Marsters, who plays Spike. So I thought this would be very appropriate. So I have 2 socks in train, and they're going really well. This is quite a thick yarn. It is called lightweight, but it's definitely a heavy fingering, almost close to a sport, but not quite. So I'm using 2.5mm needles, whereas the other socks I showed you, the beautiful Cyborgs Craft Room ones, I used 2.25mm. And I started out with 64 stitches, then I went down to 60, and I've actually gone down to 56 stitches, which is quite unusual for me, but that's going to fit quite nicely around my ankle. Now you can sort of see they're almost bulletproof, they're quite thick still. So, but that's good, it means that there's certainly no drape to speak of, but this is 100% wool and is a very tight twist, which is I think why they call it Socks That Rock, because it's yeah, your socks rock because the yarn is so good. So I was thinking, because last week I mentioned that because it's 100% merino, I would only use it for the leg, but I'm actually really tempted to use it for the full foot, but I am still a bit unsure, because the first pair of socks I ever knit Damien were 4 years ago, and I used the heavyweight version of Socks That Rock, which would be like a DK, almost worsted. And then when we moved into our current house about 4 years ago, we've got tile flooring through most of it, and that seems to have destroyed the bottom of those socks. They're ruined. There was no saving them. That also happens, I will add, if your stepson does shuffle dancing in normal store-bought socks, they get ruined too. So the tile's not friendly to any sock at all. So yes, that's what makes me nervous in continuing these, because even though I probably won't be shuffle dancing, just walking around I guess the edging between all the tiles might rub them, so I'm a bit nervous. But I'm curious, so I don't know where to go on that. We shall see. It's a hard choice, let me tell you. But anyway, loving how the colours are knitting up. Beautiful sort of rusty red and the darker colour and then the silver. Just loving it. I did 1x1 twisted ribbing, and I think they are going to be beautiful. So again, not a lot of knitting during my working week, but I got all of this done. I think I'd started the ribbing on one of them, but I got the rest done over the course of 2 days in between serving people at the stall at the Comic Con, the store for Damien's art. So yes, they're my whips. I've also got my Mama Vertebrae cardigan that again I would have liked to have finished before Bendigo, but I don't think that's going to happen because I haven't done either of the sleeves, and then there's the button banding, so that's okay. I figure I'm going to need a lot of overlays of jackets. You probably wouldn't see it too much anyway, but yes, lots of whips, lots of things I want to start new. It's hard. As well as receiving this fabulous gift and the necklace from Poppy and Belle, I also received a wonderful package from the darling Vicky, who is Devixter on Instagram and Ravelry, and the host of the fabulous Sweet Leaps podcast. So links to everything in the show notes as normal. Show notes can be found at www.yarnderwoman.blogspot.com.au, and I always put a link in the post for each episode on the Ravelry thread. So there's an aside. But yes, Vicky sent me a parcel and it was just amazing. I will show you what I got. So she mentioned on an episode of hers months back something called cream of Earl Grey tea, and I said to her, oh, I've never heard of that. She sent me a whole packet of it. Awesome. And as well, little filters. So it's loose leaf tea, and then you can make your own little tea bags. So cool. So I haven't opened it yet because I wanted to be able to show it to you nicely. But I think I might make a cup of this after I finish filming. There was that. There is this gorgeous fox. There is a Wonder Woman brooch. How cute is that? So cute. She made me some magnets. So there's a magnet on the back, and she's glued all these fabulous buttons. Oh, that goes nicely. Ooh, I need to hang by a magnetic surface today. Amazing. And there were lots of other little things. These gorgeous little sticky notes. Little sheep. Cat. So the whole package blew me away, but this. It's stunning, just on its own. But then she put a note with it and it said, I was looking for yarn to put in, for you to put in your Cozy Memories blanket, and I haven't shown that in a while, but if you've seen it previously, I only use red, black, purple and grey. Red, black, purple, grey. Yes. Yarns. And she said, I didn't have any, so I just dyed you some. How amazing is that? Hand dyed, custom made for me. Amazing. Thank you so much, Vicky. I so appreciate it. I have obviously contacted Vicky separately, but yes, the public, thank you. Thank you, Vicky. And yeah, as I said, there were lots of other little bits and pieces, but I will keep them just for me. I also received a beautiful gift from Quilter Caroline, who's of Clothes Pegs Designs. She's been so generous to give both me and the podcast a shawl pattern before, and she's done it again. So just looking at my notes, her latest shawl is called Veggie Garden, and it's got a beautiful story behind it. It's inspired by her granddad's garden, and there are rows of the pattern, and they sort of look like the rows of vegetables in a veggie patch, which is just lovely. And there's a link to it in the thread in the YarnderWoman podcast group. We have one, it's called Discounts for Viewers or something like that. It's sticky, so it'll be at the top. And if you go there, there's a link to the shawl pattern. I'll also put a link in the show notes. But if you use the code GRANDAD, GRANDAD, you can get a discount until the 15th of July, which is very lovely. So thank you so much for that, Quilter Caroline. And thank you very much to Helen of the Curious Handmade podcast for offering a gift to Danny of the Little Bobbins podcast, and she offered the prize of a membership to her Shawl Society, which is for the next several months. She's going to release a shawl pattern secretly each month as you go along. I won it. So excited because I love both Danny and Helen's podcasts. So Little Bobbins, I'm sure you all know, is a video podcast, and as I'm sure you all know, Curious Handmade is an audio podcast. Both fabulous, and it was so exciting to win. I'd been really regretting that I hadn't joined the Shawl Society, which doesn't make any sense because anyone can join at any point along the way, or you can buy the pattern separately. But for some reason, because I hadn't done it at the beginning, I thought I'd let myself down, but I'm here now, yay! So one pattern was already released. It was called the Talisman. It's just beautiful. You may have seen it going around Instagram and whatnot. So the next one will probably be out shortly because it's being July. So that's very exciting. So again, so many things that I want to knit, lots of shawls. The shawl bag is definitely itching for me, so we shall see. I've got to choose what knitting I'm going to take to Bendigo because, again, it has to be something that's easy, as in simple enough that I'm not referring to a pattern every 5 seconds because that just would lead to disaster, as well as meaning I couldn't be in the moment with what I was doing. I need it to be something a bit mindless so that that part of my brain can just get on with doing the knitting while the rest of my brain can focus on what else is going on. So many decisions to make. So difficult. What wonderful problems. We have some prizes to give away. So thank you to everyone who's participated in the Opposites Knit Along. That was running for the last 2 months in conjunction with Sally, Jane and Rachel from the Pink Her Girl Knits podcast. So thank you. We had a lot of entries and a lot of participation, so it's really, really exciting. And we've got 4 prizes to give away today. 2 for the chatter thread. So without further ado, we had 247 comments within that thread. So using random.org number generator, we have, the first winner is number post 21, Lily Meyer, who is Teresa from New South Wales. Yay! So Teresa, you win a pattern of your choice from the lovely Susie White, who is Prairie Girl Susie. So get in touch with me once you've seen this and I'll put you in touch with Susie. The second winner was in the same territory, number 23, who is Yarn Poetry, Sarah from Germany. Yay! You win your choice of a pattern from the lovely Jen Sheelan, who also has a podcast, same as Prairie Girl Susie, the Jen Sheelan podcast. So again, get in touch with me and I will let you in touch with Jen. The finished objects thread, we had 115 posts in there. So, the object was not necessarily finished. That's why we had the chatter thread as well. But there are a lot of beautiful things you can go and look at there in the finished object thread. So we have our first prize, our Fox Notions pouch with some handmade note cards from Fox Hill Llamas here in WA. And this lovely Indigenous art piece from the WA Art Gallery. The winner of that gorgeousness is number 80, Give Me a Crown, who is Nina of the Give Me a Crown podcast. Yay! Nina, let me know when you've seen this and I will get this off to you in the post. Our second finished object thread prize was this lovely WA made Japanese knot project bag. And as well, some more beautiful Indigenous art from the WA Art Gallery. The winner of that was post number 101, Vivi Knits, Viv from the UK. Yay! Viv, get in touch with me and give me your postal address and I will get these off to you as soon as possible. So thank you everyone for participating or just cheering us along, even if you weren't able to join this time. As I said at the top of the podcast, we've now started our Red Along. That's going from the 1st to the 31st of July. There's just going to be one thread for that, so just come and chat, show us what you're working on, show us when you finish things. No rules, very relaxed. As long as there is some red in the project, it counts, but obviously the more red the better in the spirit of things. But if you have a variegated that has a good portion of red, that would also count. Works in progress, you've already started count, just bring in the red. It's exciting. We love red, or I do anyway. We all should. But the reason we're going for red, as well as the fact I love it, July is a special month for the podcast, as well as it being my own birthday. It's the podcast birthday, so what better way to celebrate? And I'll show you more of the lovely prizes next time. I have shown you little peeks here and there. We saw the things from Poppy and Belle earlier. And a couple of episodes ago, I showed you some gorgeous red yarn that has been kindly given it to us by Once Upon a Corgi Etsy shop, the lovely Gabby. So there will be more to come. So please do come and join in. The thread is open now. And talking of prizes, last episode I announced 2 winners for some other giveaways and I haven't heard from either person yet. So if you entered I've gone blank what the prizes were for. Let me see. One was a membership giveaway and one was for the quarterly draw for the charity giveaway. So the charity knit along, sorry. So do go and watch the previous episode if you think you might have been a winner there and let me know. As with all my giveaways, if I don't hear from the winners within 4 or so weeks, I will redraw the prizes. So go and have a look, make sure you don't miss out if it was you, and get knitting your red things. I've been really loving my audiobooks lately. So I finished The Sleep Revolution, which was by Ariana Huffington, and that looks at all the actual scientific benefits of sleep and any sort of combination of things you can think of to talk about sleep. I really recommend it. It's very interesting, and I think we as a society need to respect sleep more, I think, and make it more of a priority. So I definitely have been. I've been using the Insight meditation app every night as I go to sleep. There are some meditations where it's just calming music. There are some where it's sort of focusing on relaxing every part of your body as you drift off to sleep. So those have been really helpful for me, because I often find I fall asleep relatively easy, but then wake up in the night. Though lately I've been finding it hard to fall asleep. So the meditations are definitely helping, and the irony, because I'm a bit of a ruminator and a worrier, after reading The Sleep Revolution and having it highlighted to me even more how important sleep is, the fact I haven't been able to sleep a lot lately has me worried, because now I'm like, I'm going to get this, I'm going to get that. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Remember how I mentioned the anxiety last time? Yeah. But definitely recommend the book. So I listened to that one just after I listened to The Phantom of the Opera, which was my selection for book club that I talked about last time. But I forgot to mention the food that I made for book club, because we do thematic food based on what's in the book. Not a lot of food is mentioned in The Phantom of the Opera, so I just sort of went for French-inspired things. So I had lots of brie and camembert, and then, a French, finger food is pâté, foie gras, which is made of goose liver, which I'm a vegetarian. Even when I wasn't a vegetarian, I wouldn't eat that because of how the geese are treated. So instead of foie gras, I made a faux gras. So it was a white bean dip, but with the consistency of pâté, and it was really tasty. It had what was in it, like paprika, and it was really, really good. So I'll put a link to the recipe, because it was delicious for vegetarians or omnivores. I really recommend it. I also had some dukkha, like the North African spice, because in the book it references that the Phantom had previously lived in Persia and gone to India. So I had, some other foods referencing where he'd been. So all in all, the menu went very well and everyone was very pleased, so that was nice. And so because I wanted to continue the Phantom theme, I listened to the audiobook of Masquerade, which is by Terry Pratchett. If you haven't heard of Terry Pratchett, he writes a lot of series and various books. He's written books with Neil Gaiman, and then this Masquerade is sort of I think it's called Discworld. I say think because I haven't really read many of them. So there's characters that appear in all his books, and it's set in sort of a fantasy world where it's sort of like reality, but there are, witches and other characters, but they are so funny. I can't, of course, remember any lines to tell you right now, but just laugh out loud funny parts. And this one was based on The Phantom of the Opera. So that was great, because I could see the parts that were being directly referenced, which made it even more enjoyable. So that was very nice indeed. I'm now listening to Macbeth again on the Chop Bard podcast. So on Chop Bard, the host Aaron reads out Shakespeare plays and gives a bit of explanation and analysis of them. And he's very, very entertaining, very interesting. And I think Macbeth is winning out as my favourite Shakespeare play. It's always been a toss-up between Macbeth and Hamlet, but no, I think Macbeth is winning now. So I am loving that. I think probably around this time last year, I was listening to it for the first time on that podcast. I've read it before. And I mentioned then that I was walking to the bus stop in darkness of morning, because, it's pitch black in the mornings now when I'm leaving for work. And in the beginning of Macbeth, if you're not aware, there are 3 witches who make a prophecy. And the way he'd recorded his voice for the witches' part was with a lot of effects and everything. And it was very atmospheric. And listening to that again this time, I was in the car, not out in the wilds, but I actually got goosebumps. It was very, very evocative, so I highly recommend it. All links in the show notes, of course. Now, the reason that Macbeth sort of came to mind is because I met James Marsters, the actor. So for those, as I mentioned earlier, so for those who aren't aware, James Marsters was an actor who's been in many things, but what I know him best for is playing the vampire Spike on Buffy. Now, that's the reason he's doing this particular face. That's a very Spike face. And he's known for his cheekbones that could slice the air. So what does this have to do with Macbeth, you ask? So, previous interviews I've read with James is he's expressed in his love of Macbeth as being one of his favourite characters, his favourite shows, because he's a classically trained actor. He's done a lot of stage work. And I love Macbeth too. When he had his panel at the Supernova comic convention, which is where all this happened, I didn't just, randomly run into him. This is the thing here. So Supernova is one of the big comic conventions that comes to Australia. He had a panel and, the audience can ask questions. So I put my hand up and I said, that I'd heard he loves Macbeth, so would he do us the honour of quoting? Oh my goodness, I almost swooned, because he quoted one of the very famous soliloquies from Macbeth, which is quite depressing, as he said it would be, but the way he delivered it was amazing. So that really got my Macbeth juices flowing, so I'm very much enjoying listening to it now. Here's something else with James Marsters on it. So, I'll pull it back a bit. This is a big print, an A3 size, of some artwork that Damien, DKS Art and Design, did for the show. So it is of James Marsters as Spike, and I got him to sign it. So we've got To Melinda, Bite Me, because it's a vampire reference, and then his signature here. So that was very exciting. So I also got to see James Marsters play an acoustic concert, because he does his own music. He's in a band. So the Friday night he did the acoustic concert. I took one of my friends as a birthday present to her. Then on the weekend itself, I met him for a photo and I met him to get the autograph. All quite quick, because there's a lot of people lining up. But the beauty was, because I was a vendor, because Damien and I were there working his stall, it meant I could go to the front of all the queues, behind anyone who'd bought VIP tickets. So people can buy VIP tickets, which means they are at the very front of the queue, which is fair enough. But so it meant that, other than getting there a few minutes early, I wasn't waiting in the queues very long, which was fantastic, because the queues were very long. But that makes sense, because us vendors have to get back and sell our wares. But yes, for the photo especially, it was very, wham bam, thank you ma'am, which totally understandable. But, he shook my hand and was very engaging, so he's a lovely person. You could tell by the Sunday afternoon when I got the autograph that he was getting very tired, understandably so. But still very, very lovely, so. It's my swoon moments. Hello, quick intermission from what we were talking about. I've just realised in editing that I didn't tell you why I don't have a photo of James Marsters holding my knitting. So, simple reason, because I knew the photo session, the official photos were going to be a bit wham bam thank you ma'am, I thought I didn't want to go in with a knitting bag and have to hurriedly pass him knitting and have yarn everywhere. I thought it might just make things a bit awkward and possibly ruin the photo and or annoy everyone. So I had planned to ask him when I was getting the autograph whether he would mind, letting me snap a quick photo. But as I got up to his desk, I saw there were signs up, which a lot of the stars had, where if you wanted to take a selfie or a photo with your own camera, that also cost, which I can completely understand, because if other people are being charged money, such as I was, for an official photo, it wouldn't be fair to make a regular thing of people getting free photos. So I thought, gonna have to let it go, not gonna spend any more money on photos, but perhaps if he comes back at a future time, I will know that that's the case and I will just get a photo of him with my knitting, but the dream will live on. Now back to more talking about the rest of Supernova. So yes, we had a very good weekend. It was probably the best show in terms of takings that Damien DKS Art Design has ever had, which is fabulous. It means his business is growing and growing. Someone on Instagram did ask about whether the spike print is going to be in the Etsy store for DKS Art and Design. It definitely is. It's just not there yet, but I will put a post on Instagram for anyone else who's interested as well, because there's going to be like absentee specials for people who weren't able to make it to Supernova. There's going to be some specials and some different things on there. So more on that to follow. But other things I got when I was at Supernova, the artist next to us had these very cool prints of his work, and I just love this Dorothy and the Toto, so I had to get that. And also I like to support the other artists around as well. This is so cute. So my lovely cousin volunteers for the Perth Observatory. So I think it was back in February I mentioned that I went to sort of an open night at the observatory, and they had a stall or a booth at the comic convention. Just it's a good way to meet new audiences and let people know about it. They had plush of the solar system. I've mentioned before my love of the moon, and I got the moon. So it's a little plushie. And they only had one of every planetary body, and then they were taking orders for the others. And so the ones that were there could be purchased, but they're not picked up till the Sunday afternoon. And I was telling her about it, and I said, I want the moon. And Damien went to the bathroom at one point, and she called him and was like, buy the moon, buy the moon. So that was very exciting. And then Damien went and got it for me on the Sunday afternoon. So cute. So you just saw there lots of people holding my knitting. So most of those were different artists. I'll put links to them in the show notes as well. The last three there were Justin, Wolfgang and Emily, and they are part of Gestalt Publishing, which is a comic publisher based here in Perth. And as well as they creating awesome works in general, Justin, who is Justin Randall, is the one who photographed Damien and I when we did some posing for him for one of his comics, Changing Ways. I mentioned this, I think it was last year. Now, book 3 is being released in parts. So I have chapter 2 of book 3, and you can see it's been autographed. Thanks, Melinda. And that's Justin's signature. The reason he's put thanks, Melinda, I'm in the comic. Look, it's me with hair. How exciting is that? I'm in a comic. So as I said, this is being released in parts. So chapter 3, I'm going to be in a lot more. My character is named Rosa. And I won't tell you anymore because it's a suspenseful story you should read. So Changing Ways can be bought online as well as physically, so I will definitely make sure to link to that in the show notes, because it's a fabulous story and written and produced here in Perth. It's just awesome. And with that, it is time to sign off. If you can hear any background noises, it's because my filming has continued too long and now Damien is up getting ready for work, so apologies for that, but I think it'll be fine. Thank you very much for joining me today. I hope you have a wonderful day, whatever you are doing now. I'm off to work, which is not so exciting, but it's Friday, which means it's the weekend, and I have no plans other than knitting, so it's lovely. Thank you very much. Look after yourselves. I will see you next time, and happy crafting. Bye.